Well, welcome back to another Run Disney Rundown. We are here to talk about Wine and Dine. It's been a couple weeks. We were on vacation, and then it's been pretty busy getting back to it to do this show. But we are here. We're going to be talking about Wine and Dine, training, all of that fun stuff, answering your questions. And yeah, all around having a good time. I think these are our favorite shows to do, recap shows.
Recap shows are fun. Been a little bit, so what will probably happen is we'll be talking about something and then I'll trigger a memory of something that happened that I had completely forgotten about, which is always great.
Yeah, because I don't think we did a recap show for Halloween half, if I can remember. Or no, we did.
I think so. Did we do like a recap combined with a Wine and Dine hype, or no?
No, I think we did it. It was just like this several weeks after.
Yeah. Well, I had to go out of town for work, and I'm just now seeing. There we go. Okay.
Yeah, so as always, we are currently live. So if you are watching live, feel free to drop your questions in the chat, whether it's about Wine and Dine, what you ran for Wine and Dine, what you thought, all of that fun stuff, and we will get down to it, starting with the good old Expo, where all race weekends begin. I don't think I have a ton from the Expo. I thought it was overall good. It was pretty standard to what we have come to know for the Expos for the last few years.
Yeah.
This was the first Expo, though, in a few Walt Disney World race weekends that we've been there day one. Yeah. Or I guess springtime we would have been there day one.
Yeah.
But springtime's a little bit more chill in general.
Yeah, this was also a case where we got lucky enough to get an early boarding group. It is kind of luck of the draw, it feels like. So we were two, so we had plenty of reason to be there bright and early when they opened. We actually they still let us in. We missed like when they called our group. We were still on I-4 at the time, but they let you go in after your number is called, so that's good. We still got in line before it technically opened.
Yeah, they called the numbers a little early, so they actually sent you into the room where you queued, and they had everyone kind of zigzagging until they actually opened the shop.
And they did actually, and if you remember, they opened it a little bit late because people were starting to get a little like, why is this line not moving? Like, this is going to take forever. But I think what we ran into is they were still clearing out Club Run Disney people before they let everyone else in. Once they actually like opened it actually moved really quick, and we got in the first like round of people once they started.
Oh yeah, they pretty much let that whole room in once it was time. I mean, as always on the first day, especially when you're there at that time, it is pretty wild and crazy in there. But it was fine. Merch was cute. We got a couple things.
Yeah, I do think that they did a good job kind of upping their merch game. They also like introduced the new General Run Disney line for the year at this one, which they added some like updated colors and stuff. It's all still very similar to stuff we've seen, so I've never loved that stuff, just like style wise. I think it is good for some people, just not me, so we don't.
It's mostly a color update. They changed the design a little bit, and it's all fine. It's never really been either of our vibes.
We have so much of other stuff that we don't really need that stuff.
So much Run Disney stuff.
Never come close to wearing all of the shirts that we have included from registrations. But we did buy a couple pins. We did a lot of more shopping for other people this time around.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Since we were in there
That will focus in there. There we go. Yeah, so the only metal replica we got was the challenge pin. But it did seem like, from what I've heard, most of the pins lasted much longer into the race weekend, which was good.
I have an unverified piece of information that I was told that they just ordered more pins this year. And so I think a lot of those did end up in the discount stores after, but
Well, that's fine as long as they're getting more sales from them in
yes,
general. It's
yes.
probably still okay.
Yeah, so it was just someone who knew someone said that they finally decided to order more, which is great because
Yep,
I think it's good for people to be able to get the thing they want.
I agree. Katie got a sweatshirt.
It's in the laundry because I wore it in the cold weather last week, but it was one of the feminine fit like hoodies. It's not athletic. I had to cut the sleeves so they don't stretch. I posted about it on Instagram, but it is very cute and soft and comfy. Other than that weird sleeve thing.
Yep, and then we did get the one of the weekend magnets.
Yep, we just got the overall weekend logo, which I think is very cute this year. I'm so happy they started doing weekend logos because they didn't always do that.
Yeah, and then as for bib pickup, nothing super notable there. There was a pretty big line. It wraps around the building there.
Yeah.
That's become pretty typical since they've eliminated most of the line for merchandise. That line is basically moved to bib pickup.
Yeah.
Now, if you're there later in the evening, all of that has usually dissipated. But if you're there first day, especially right at open, there's typically lines to get into like everything at this
Yes.
point.
Yeah.
But they did give us the luggage tags again for the anniversary year. And I love these. This is a nice, like, actual 3D embossed one. It's not like just the printed one. We kind of see back and forth inconsistently between those nicer ones and the ones that are just kind of the single layer screen print.
Yeah, these are my favorite.
Yeah, we
and,
love those.
We started using them as tree ornaments. They fit well with our tree, so I like them a lot. I think that's one of my favorite gifts that they give. They've also been known to give out like lithographs or like the pictures, which are cute too. I'm just staring at them right now.
Yeah, the lithographs are nice as well.
Yeah.
If you guys have any thoughts from the expo, please feel free to drop them into the comments and we'll pop them up on the show here. And then general merchandise, I thought was just fine. Again, there was a little line to get into that. Vendor section seemed fine. I feel like I had another note. Other than it looked like they widened that first lane when you get down there to get back into shirts.
Didn't feel quite as crowded. I think they realized that that's the way everyone like walks to get to their shirts. So
yeah, it seems like the two end lanes they kind of widened a little bit.
One thing that was notable at this one that I've never seen before is they actually had like shoes on sale, which they'll sell shoes and socks and like essentials and stuff like that, but there's usually not like a deal on anything. It's usually just market retail price or whatever. But they had because I wear the Brooks Ghosts, they had the Ghost 15s and the 16s on sale. And so I actually bought a pair of shoes while I was there, which is unusual for me. And I picked up a bunch of socks because we needed socks, and they had like buy three get one free. So.
Yeah, it was one of like just a random. I think it was a newer vendor that we hadn't seen before, but it was right back by shirt pickup, and they had a big tall rack of shoes, but all of it was discounted, and it was kind of a mix of newer and old stuff because they had different versions of the endorphins and they're on sale. So that was pretty cool. Love to see some options there. Otherwise, I don't think I have a whole lot else from the expo. I know you went back to the expo.
I did. I went back with my sister because she wanted to get some pictures of stuff. So we took pictures by. She wanted by the like the mileage signs, and she had gotten there. Gosh, she went to the expo like every single day. I'm just now realizing because she went and she picked up her stuff the same day we did, just later, and then she wanted to go back with someone to take her picture, and in a certain outfit. But yeah, no, I thought it was good. The weather was very pleasant, so we sat outside for a little bit and chatted with a lot of people, which is my favorite part. And yeah, after that, we must have gone somewhere to get lunch. Don't remember. Oh, we went to the Poly and hung out for a bit. That's what we did.
We did, yeah, fun. Because I wanted to go to Trader Sam's.
Yep, we got a Trader Sam's
mug
mugs
sitting somewhere in the blurriness behind us back there.
Some Dole Whip.
And Scott says, yeah, that magnet is on my desk at work. The luggage tag is on the tree too. Fantastic weekend and week. We'll definitely do this again. Sadly, we have to wait at least a season. That is a-okay. We are so glad you had a good time though.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I guess that brings us kind of into the 5K. We did stay at Pop for this weekend, which we've done for many weekends. We both drove and used the buses, and I will say we had no real issues with either.
No,
Yeah, I
not a
mean, I
bit.
thought transportation wise from Pop has I think consistently
Always
been
been good.
pretty good.
I have there were some stories of other transportation issues. I can't remember which day the bus like there was a bus that broke down. I
I
think that
believe that was 5K
5K.
day. And
So
that does almost every weekend something like that happens, but it always seems like most of the time those people make it to the race.
yeah,
But
I mean,
that's
there's so many people on the road. I have jumped in a stranger's car on the way to a Run Disney race when my car broke down once. So everyone's kind of going the same place that morning, and you know, generally you can trust the runners. So, um, you know,
yeah, anyways
but
though.
sorry,
So
that's a
moving
tangent.
into the 5K then, uh 5K was good. Muppets theme. We haven't had a Muppets theme race before, and they definitely did try to dig into that theme. It,
They did a
especially
good
pre
job.
post race. I would say.
Yes, they had the I was like curious if we would see any like Muppet characters because they're not the easiest to like have out there. You need to have special performers for them. And having the Swedish Chef as the like kickoff character up on the stage with the announcers, they did a great job. It was hilarious.
Swedish Chef was unhinged,
Yeah,
and it was
in
fun.
the best way. And then I didn't get to see him in person, but the chickens as a character like photo at the end, and their like whole shenanigans and like dancing to the songs and all of that was so good. Like they did a great job. And then on course, they didn't have Muppet characters, but they did a lot of Muppet like speaking, like they were talking to you and wishing you luck and things like that. And I thought that was a good way to do it. And then they had Sweetums at the end.
Yep, Sweetums was like cheering for you at the finish.
Which I knew they had to have Sweetums somewhere because like he's the one costume character that you can do like the traditional way.
Yeah,
It's
but they
great.
must have like they recorded new stuff for the race weekend, which was I think clever. They had like all of the video screens, it would flash from different Muppets, and but it would all be like Wine and Dine race themed, like let's
Mm-hmm.
go type of stuff. It was good. It was really good. The actual characters on the course were not Muppet themed though. They were kind of random.
They were like some of them were like weekend themed, or they I know at one point they had like Chip and Dale and they had like food related things like
It was just like Wine and
chef
Dine themed.
chef things.
Yeah, it was just more Wine and Dine. I will say the 5K course, probably my favorite 5K course that we've had in a while. You got in the park a little bit early because you basically went in where you would come out by
Mm-hmm.
Mission Space,
Yes.
and you kind of wrapped back around towards the center and got to go out towards the front where the pillars are. I thought all of that was great. There was a good photo stop up there. Now we didn't stop for any character photos or any photos like that. We did start out of E,
Yep.
which was fine. I mean, of course, it took a little bit longer to get started,
Yep.
but actually on the course, I thought was fine.
Yeah, it was definitely fine on the course. It did mean I had to stop and use the restroom because we had to wait longer. And then because we were in E, I was like, I want to try to get to the front as much as I can. So I got in there early and I didn't do like my second bathroom stop before getting in the corral that we usually do. We usually do like at least two.
Yeah,
And so I had to stop. But you're in Epcot, so you have lots of
plenty
bathrooms
of bathrooms
available.
in Epcot.
So that was good. I love this course. I love doing the 5Ks because you get to like be in the dark, and Epcot, her glow up has been very nice. They have lots of pretty lights shining everywhere for us, which I like.
Oh yeah, between the lanterns and torches being lit in World Showcase, and then the center part of Epcot, and even that new side over by I forget what they connect not
Connection,
connections, Communicore Hall,
Communicore.
like
Yeah.
that running through that part was all nice and lit up. It was really cool. It
I
was really good.
and I think running our race through that part was the first time I saw that part in the dark. Obviously,
Same.
later in the weekend when we did the party, we were there in the dark, but it was cool to experience it for the first time doing something like this. But yeah, no, I thought it was great. I've grown to really like the 5Ks, even though
Yeah,
They were
5Ks
already
are
done.
fun. We do more than we used to do,
Oh yeah.
for sure.
Well, Dopey and
Yep.
springtime. We'll always have.
Toby and springtime forces, but we've almost consistently done like one additional one a year now.
Here and there. It's always been Wine and Dine. I've never done Princess.
Oh yeah, I guess it has always been Wine and Dine.
Oh yeah, because we had to do the first race back. That was our whole big thing. It was like this is the first race back post like the pandemic break. Um and then that was the only other one we've done, I think.
Yeah, but that is really all our thoughts from the 5K. I had to work after the 5K and 10K, so I did not get to hang around and chat all too much, unfortunately. So that is pretty much where my thoughts end for that whole day. Because I think you guys you went back, you took the bus back and then went to the expo
It's Friday. Yes, we did the bus back in the expo.
and you went to Disney Springs, I think.
Yes, and we went and we got lunch at Disney Springs. We went to Boathouse, which I hadn't been to in a very, very long time.
Love Boathouse.
And it was wonderful, and I would love to go back. And the bread there is amazing. We had their server there was fabulous
just
too.
a little bit. There we go.
Yeah, we just walked. Me and my sister walked around, looked at some of the Christmas stuff they had put out. You know, just hung out and chilled. It was really nice.
Yeah, it was fun to see through the weekend, running through the different parks, some of the Christmas stuff kind of slowly going up, which was neat and fun. But that brings us into the 10K. Again, another good one. I like this 10K course. I know you only get one park out of it. This was the basically around Epcot and then around the Boardwalk Yacht Club loop and then back into Epcot, which is kind of the classic 10K course. It is a little bit different from where you enter the park and all of that right now, but I think it's good. It's fun. You get a good amount of Epcot time. I like that Yacht Club Beach Club Boardwalk loop as well.
Yeah, it's fun.
This was costume day.
Yes, and that was very fun.
Yes, we did X-Men themes. That video should be coming out here in the next couple of days once I get it finished up. A little bit behind on the video editing too, but we'll get it all out there. But yes, this one was fun. We'll say this day leading into the half marathon, weather definitely started to get humid earlier. It was pretty much warm heading out the door.
Yeah. We did not need any layers or mylar or anything like that on any of these days.
Not at all. But this was a fun day because while the 5K was fun, we did the 5K together. The 10K was kind of like the reunion. Everyone who was there for the weekend kind of got to meet up and, of course, run together and meet up before and hang out after the races. So that's really, I think, what made that a lot of fun and special, at least for me. Trying to think. I don't think I have any other thoughts from it. I will say I didn't think any of the characters from the 10K, while I don't remember which ones were particularly standout, there wasn't anyone that I remember being like, oh, I'm very excited for this one.
I do not remember any of the characters. I'm sitting here, I'm like, I do not remember any of the characters. But I think it was very general, ones we see at RunDisney a lot type.
It was very standard kind of Wine and Dine characters.
Which are in general kind of rare characters for the general park goer, but we've seen them a lot for RunDisney at this point. This was a fun one because I got to hang out with Christy in the corral for a little bit. This is also the first day they introduced their secret new corral system where
the
lettered corrals have multiple sections, which I know there's mixed reviews. It did help the walk up stampede. So I'm pro that.
Yeah, so basically the back larger corrals, was it C, D, and E that did it, or just D and E? It was the last couple corrals did this, where basically they had it rode off into basically micro corrals within the corral. And then once you got in, you were locked into that section. If you had to leave, they gave you a passcode to get back into your section, which meant if you were there early, let's say you were D and it was 4 sections. I don't know how many it was, but you were guaranteed to be in that first 25% of runners, regardless of if you had to use the restroom or whatever. Makes your corrals a little bit tighter.
I mean, they didn't really feel tight. You could still hang out in the
No.
back of your section if you wanted to. It wasn't any tighter than I've ever felt before.
Yeah, lots of mixed reviews, and if you're watching and you partook in this for either of the races, please comment your thoughts on this. I would really like to hear more about those that utilized it. Again, lots of mixed reviews from it. I would think my thoughts from it are if you're going to make mini corrals, just
make
make
the
more corrals and
Yeah.
fix the problem the right way.
Yeah.
Like just make A, B, C, D, E, F, however many you need. You used to do it before, and I know that the space constraint is a little bit different, but you're still making more corrals by making mini corrals.
Yeah. It was kind of weird. I mean, like it was a surprise too, and there was a sign because I saw someone post it on the internet, but there were, as far as I can tell, there was no mention of it before the morning of, which I thought was very interesting. Um, so we'll see how this test goes. Maybe this was a test to see if they want more corrals, and then they'll just give us corral numbers again because I feel like it was way more work and um like logistics for like the people who are like corral monitors and stuff.
I will say too, if you when they try these new things and you have experiences, don't be afraid to go
Oh, yeah.
to the info booth and just give them that feedback.
Kindly.
Yes, kindly, but positive feedback
Yeah.
too, because like when they moved Corral A to the front there, like
That
where
was
you
great.
just walked in, yeah, that was fantastic. And we
Yeah.
went up and said, "Hey, this worked really well. Like, there's no walk. You're eliminating a
Yeah.
whole walkout. Like, it just makes sense."
And it helps too that they let B walk all the way
Yeah,
up behind you as well. That's a great, you know, addition that they did. It just like helps
helps the
the
queuing
flow.
process.
Yeah, but that's what this did too. It did help because I felt way less like I was gonna get run over with the turnout.
Yeah. Well, it feels like if they're gonna do that, you almost could eliminate like the space for B and just make B like a pathway to get into that walkout and just make B's corral that part of the walkout. Like you have A and then you have where the corrals would come back where it would enter behind A. Like just make that part B
Could see that.
and then you've got more space to either add a corral then. And now they've been trying different things like every race weekend.
Yeah.
So hopefully again they, are on it and they are taking this feedback and whatever else they've gotten to, again make it work. But again, more corrals I think is just the answer.
Probably. Yeah.
But moving back, 10K characters, we did have Duffy, Remy, let's see, Chef Mickey. You had
Jiminy Cricket.
Jiminy Cricket. I'm like looking at all these characters. I'm like getting overwhelmed trying to think of their names. Eeyore and Pooh. I don't remember. Big Owl from
the
Country Bears. We had Chef Goofy. Prince Naveen was that first character there. He had a pretty cool set behind him. It was like very Mardi Gras esque. And then I don't know if we got all of the characters after. I think I only had time for one, so I only did the Chef Mini Mickey. And then there was also Chef Donald as well. And they were kind of in their like Chef Mickey's outfits from the restaurant. Again, like I said, nothing I think super different from what we've seen for like Wine and Dine characters, the chef theme.
Yeah.
But we do like the food themes for the race, so we are a-okay with that.
Yep.
Again, another day though where I didn't get to hang out too much after. Oh, you did get a solid finish for this race because we got to do the under Spaceship Earth and then out that side. I am always a fan and want to shout out that finish because that is my favorite. You get those nice shots of yourself like right under Spaceship Earth there. They always usually turn out nice. And I will say probably like my biggest theme or my biggest plus was the non-character stops for the race weekend. The scene stops were like fantastic. As we mentioned in the 5K, you had the one with the pillars and Spaceship Earth right behind you. We did not get that one just because where we were, there were significant lines to wait for it. But then this one, there was a really great Spaceship Earth shot in that new center without like any sort of character. It's probably one of my favorite shots from this. And then we can talk about my favorite from the half. But yeah, I love when they add like the icon shots to the race weekends. Anywhere where you can stop, the Tower of Terror shots, the
Castle.
Runaway Castle, yeah, Runaway Railway. Those always end up tending to be like some of my favorite shots from the weekend. So I love when they are able to add that. Disneyland did a good job adding some of those in there in lieu of characters as well. And
Mm-hmm.
again, totally a fan of that. That totally works for me. But I think that takes us about into the half then.
Yeah, I went to the ACS meetup, which was really fun. More of those in my future as I continue to
Yeah,
raise money for ACS.
yeah, something that has been kind of different is that Katie has been fundraising for more races with ACS, and that's been kind of a new experience
Yeah.
for us, but she seems to enjoy it and seems to be going well.
Yeah. So if people have questions about fundraising or working with one of the charities and like kind of how that works, I now have like a full like experience with it from like signing up through an actual race weekend now. So if you have questions or anything like that, you can always reach out. You can comment them here and we can maybe cover them another time or at the end of this video if time allows. But yeah, it was really fun. I enjoyed meet. I met a bunch of new people at the meetup. Especially when you work with a charity. Just a quick plug for how awesome it is. A lot of times you're meeting people who are directly affected by whatever that charity is supporting, and it's very moving and special, and a good addition to your race weekend festivities.
Yeah, and we're going to backtrack a little
Ooh,
bit
didn't
because I
show
forgot to
medals.
show medals. So we'll go ahead and pop the 5K up here if it wants to focus. Good solid medal. There is a signature on the back of it, but when I flip it, it will become unfocused. But yeah, good medal. Again, Muppets theme medal. Don't think we've had that before.
I don't think so.
So
I love
that
these
was,
medals.
yeah. And then 10K. I think the 10K is probably my least favorite of the medals. And I will give you a heads up, we cannot find our challenge medals right now. So when we get to there,
Yep.
there won't be anything to show you.
It's why we were 5 minutes late starting. Is we were looking for the medals. We still haven't found them. I'm sure they're in a bag somewhere.
Yeah, we camped. We went right to Fort Wilderness and camped after the weekend. So things are still kind of
But we
being packed, unpacked.
can use this.
Yeah, we do have the metal replica. If you have any questions still about the 5 or 10Ks, go ahead and drop them in. We are going to move into the half marathon, the big one, anniversary race weekend and challenge for it, which is exciting. And, overall, I think for me was a pretty good race. Now, this was the one where weather definitely got a lot of people.
Yes, it was like unexpectedly humid for this time of year / this race weekend specifically. It definitely got to me a little bit.
I think a guy, from what we've heard, it got to a lot of people.
Yeah.
It was, especially the humidity was just
I was
insane.
drenched. I was dripping like before we even got to Mile 1. At one point, I felt like a drop, and I'm like, "Ooh, it's early. It's gonna be rough." Oh yeah.
Dapper Vanta Crew talked about how hot it was at the Disneyland 10K. If you're talking about Halloween, yeah, that was rough. We were there.
It probably was like comparable to that. I would say
It was
it didn't
different because that was straight heat.
Yeah, it didn't get as hot during the day as it did in California, but
Yeah, two rough
I
weather.
remember feeling like this one, the Wine and Dine weekend, felt harder to me than Halloween weekend because it gave me like a little panic about training.
Which Wine and Dine might for some people if you are training for Dopey or the marathon, which we can talk about a little bit at the end. But yeah, half marathon, no costumes or anything, just straight running. This is the 10-miler plus course. Now, last year we saw instead of doing the out and back, which they did 2 years ago, they added the loop where you go around Coronado, which I like way more than the out and back. I know it's not as exciting as going through an extra park. It is highway miles, but I actually thought that little loop flew by. And actually, I thought that whole half the race really kind of flew by up until a little bit at the end where we had to stop, which was okay, which we'll get into.
I normally feel that way. For whatever reason, this time around, this course with like the little bit of extra and all that felt more crowded than it ever has for me. I don't know if it's where I started, could be weather, people slowing down. I didn't think about that until this moment. Because normally I love the springtime and last year's Wine and Dine because it felt like after you're kind of a little bit crowded in the parks, you get nice open roads to run on, and it did not feel that way. It still felt very crowded. So I'm not sure what was up with that. But or maybe I was just grouchy and hot.
That is a good question. Is it possible to run with a helper if you're disabled? Yep, there are, they call it AWD, right?
Yep, and AWD guides. It's something both people do have to be registered for the race. And you can reach out to RunDisney and they help organize what you
Need to do for
need.
that.
They provide basically extra signs that you can like clip to your shirt that let people know that you are an athlete with a disability and or that you're an athlete with a guide to an athlete with a disability, so you know to be looking out for someone. And then I believe too, depending on your disability, if you're like hearing impaired or if you're a blind runner, I don't know if Disney provides these or if this is something that the person themselves comes up with, but I think Disney may provide them because they look the same. You can put those on as well, so just people around you can be aware of what's going on.
Yeah.
And you can, if you have a service dog who's a runner, your service dog can also run with you because I get to see that a lot.
Yeah.
And I love it.
So getting into it, I don't think I have any like major thoughts pre-race. Again, that would have been the biggest test for the mini corrals.
Mm-hmm. I was in, so on the first day, on the 10K day, I believe I was in the second of the mini waves. And then on the Wine and Dine day, I was also in the second of the mini waves, just because I got there a little too late. I saw several people whose bib were tore off during the race, and I did see sheriff's officers like call out and make them show him that they had a bib because he couldn't see it. So yeah.
Yeah, that was very much a weather issue. People sweating through to their bibs. Tyler's bib fell off during the race.
My bib ripped on 10K day before we left the hotel room.
You'll see when we post some of our pictures in our half marathon video. There's pictures of him just like holding the bib in front of him.
It happens. Packing tape. That's what I use to reinforce the little corners.
Yeah, something that especially Katie is really good about doing it. You can take the packing tape and go basically around your four edges or even just the corners there, and that will help you hold together a little bit. And also, Steve, hello. It is good to chat with you. Excited to run with you in just a couple of weeks. Mark, what's up? It's good to see you as well. Mark is throwing some Muppets love and controversy in the chat. Anyways, I forget where I was. Oh, we were talking about pre-race.
Yeah. I don't even remember. Did they have a character come out pre-race for this one?
I don't remember. I would have video of it if they did.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Oh yeah, because Remy was the theme, and Remy definitely was not out for it.
I didn't know if they had Remy or if they had Mickey maybe come out, but it's okay. That's the least interesting part of the race.
Yeah, so race begins. Again, this is the 10 miler. So you swing right and you're basically heading right into Epcot. Now, start of this race, you do get to go around World Showcase right away, which is nice. Yeah, that is always a good way to start a race. And then you are heading right back out of Epcot pretty much right away after that. And you are going down towards Boardwalk. And you do the little boardwalk section, and then you're going down towards Hollywood. And all of this through Hollywood happens within the first 5 miles of the race. Hollywood was pretty much up for Christmas. The tree was not up yet. Like that section by Echo Lake was not quite ready. I think Gertie might have had the Christmas hat on already.
She did not have the Christmas hat because I looked for the Christmas hat.
She had it on when we were back, right?
When we went back
when we were camping.
Part time she did. They had like almost all their Christmas stuff out by then.
Yeah, but the Hollywood section had like the lights and stuff up, which is pretty cool. I like this course, it's the course that gets you the most amount of Hollywood time. You get to run down by where Muppets Vision is, RIP, and then over back through Galaxy's Edge as well. I will say there wasn't like anything in Galaxy's Edge. There was the characters up above the little speeder station or whatever. But typically, like, there's some more photo pass back there. Like, sometimes there's photo pass by the X-Wing, and there wasn't really any of that. Um, Dapper, I would need to know which bridge you are discussing.
Across the bridge. I think we go across a couple bridges. At least one, because I remember you could see runners going.
Yeah, you do go. There's two different times
overpass.
where you go under or over and you can see the runners because once you get out of Hollywood, you run over to go towards Coronado and you can see the runners coming back under you. And then when you get back towards Epcot to do the usual overpass there, you can, of course, see them there. Then Diver Down family, what's up, Tony? Good to see you in the chat as well. Late in the 5K discussion, but the original Muppet content videos on course was epic. RunDisney knocked that out of the park. Again, yep, definitely solid theming for that 5K.
Yeah, they did a good job.
Yeah, which again, characters I think for this race were kind of the random. You had some of the chef theming, but then a lot of kind of just random various characters. I do have those pulled up. We had Duffy again. You had Joy and Sadness, Lumiere. We had Minnie and Mickey in their like really dapper Hollywood outfits in front of Minnie and Mickey's, which is a pretty typical situation, but that's one of my favorites usually.
Bullseye, you skipped over him.
Bullseye,
and I always remember that because he was coming out as I was passing, and he very funny.
Esmeralda and Clopa, is that his name?
Clopin will tell you. Clopin.
Yep. Mike Wazowski, I think he was switching out with Sully.
Yes, I think it was Sully when I went by.
Yeah, I think they were both out when we walked up to them, and Sully like is walking away in the back. There was Marie, which is usually a fan favorite as well. You had the mice from Cinderella. I think that is. Oh, you had Emile was out there. He was a pretty early one, along with Gaston. I think they were like the first two characters there. And then at the end, we did get pictures with Remy. Who is the Lewis is the alligator. The Beast was out there, and I believe Minnie and Mickey were still out there. And I don't know if we didn't get that one or did something else. Oh, the three fairies from Snow White, Sleeping Beauty. Yeah, I'm all over the place right now apparently. Oh, and I got more characters than I missed because you have Chip and Dale were out. Gamora and Star-Lord. That was probably one of our favorite interactions because they were just. I think, like, must have just had their coffee and gotten out there because they were pretty hype and active, having fun conversation.
And they're at the end, so yeah.
Yeah, right in front of Guardians there. He was talking about our album
His
cover.
pose is really funny.
Yeah, like I said, he was, like, real into it when we went by. We were probably one of the earlier people coming through that character stop. And then there was Goofy right in front of Spaceship Earth as well. Oh, and then we had that scene with the Haunted Mansion scene. Graveyard characters, yeah. Yep. Which I said they had the fog machine going, and because it was so humid, the fog was not dissipating. So we like went into the fog, was like, there's no way this picture turns out. And it's very foggy. It did not turn out. It's fine. Totally fine though. Sebastian was out on course. I love Bowler Hat Guy. That's always a favorite for me.
I almost stopped for him because there was like two people in line for him when I went by.
Judy Hopps and Nick Wilde were both out as well when we were there. But yeah, I mean, definitely a good volume of characters for sure. Again, not too many there that I was like, oh, this is great. I'm super excited. The Haunted Mansion Graveyard was exciting. Like I said, I like Bowler Hat Guy. Usually once a race weekend, I think we see someone from Meet the Robinsons, which is a little more rare of a character.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever really... Well, you see Bowler Hat Guy in the Halloween parade, but I don't really think of a time other than RunDisney I've ever really seen the other Meet the Robinson characters. Because they have Lewis and they have...
I can't think of what his... Wilbur,
thank you.
Yep. Yeah, again though, favorite shots from this, we have one in front of Hollywood Tower of Terror where the cast member was like on the ground getting that angle up. That was an awesome photo. And then there was one in Japan, or yeah, in Japan, and it's got the arch behind you with Spaceship Earth right in the center. Probably my favorite photo from the whole race weekend. Those just random scenes were really, really strong photos for us this time. Really enjoyed it. Again, this is a hard course, the last almost 3/4 of the race. A lot of highway time there. I thought they did better with like characters and entertainment kind of along the course there. Sweetum was out as well. He was
Oh,
a non-photo
he was.
pass.
Yeah, he was like selfies only. I forgot about
Yeah.
it.
They
Yes.
were like really like pushing people to keep moving for that one too. And I do believe at some point he went in, like he stopped. I'm going to guess probably due to heat.
Could be. That costume has
Probably
to.
hot and sweaty in that costume.
And,
But yeah, they were like it was like coned off. They were like, "Hey, just, passing photos only basically."
yeah.
And even at like our point there wasn't really anyone there.
Yeah. They had a couple different bands. They had, I think, only one school group that I remember. They had the drummers right at the like last mile turn. They had some of the like improv performers that do like the they're like tailgating or like
It's usually
cheerleaders.
isn't it John Pelkey's wife?
I believe John Pelkey's wife is one of the. She's usually one of the tailgaters. I don't know which one she is though, but it's two ladies who are always out there and they're very funny.
Yep, they're usually tailgating for it.
Usually out there objectifying men. I don't know why. It's always what they're doing.
That does definitely happen. Yep. But all fun stuff there. We did get to actually hang around after this one. One thing we did not talk about was the beer cups.
Oh yeah. Oh.
And while after the
I also don't know where that is. That one I think it might be in my car.
I
It's
no, I
in the
think it
door
got
of my
brought
car.
in.
Oh, okay.
Anyways, yeah. So one thing they started was specialty, like the cups that were usually the RunDisney or ESPN cups. They had race specific ones. So this one had the Wine and Dine logo. Love that. Definitely hope they continue that. I know it does kind of eliminate being able to bring back the cups for the cheaper refills, but those cups are kind of a cute little keepsake. It's something we usually end up with because regardless of how many cups we have, we will forget them.
Yeah. And it might have been something that was just for the anniversary year, or maybe it was like an experiment. We'll see if people liked them. I think everyone really did. They're really cool.
Oh yeah, well they sold out of them. They were out of them, I think, pretty early. I know for the half they didn't have them. They switched to like a bright orange ESPN cup.
All right.
So hopefully, I would love to see that come back and continue for the race weekends, especially marathon weekends. But yeah, kind of a cheap keepsake, especially if you drink and you were gonna get a beer anyways. It's cool to get that custom race weekend cup for sure. So love that. We did get to hang out again, meet people, stop for more of the pictures, post. We'd love to just hang out. I got to go and I watched you. We watched you finish too.
I don't remember. I do remember seeing you.
Yep.
That's right.
Yeah. Again, solid half. Weather was definitely the bane of the weekend,
Yeah.
especially of that race.
I've discovered that I have plantar
Fasciitis.
That was bothering me.
Yeah.
This is a struggle for me. I didn't feel too confident after this race.
We did have
fun
one thing. I think I talked about it when I did our little recap in our stories. But Sarah actually fell and like banged up her knee during this race pretty hard. And it took us a little while to convince her to go and see medical. She did eventually go and stop.
She didn't pull herself out, but she just got cleaned up, I think, right? She didn't
Yeah.
stop the race. Yeah.
No, yeah. Yeah, we did take a couple walk breaks, probably once we got around mile 10 or so. Again, was totally fine. We had been actually moving really well up until that point, though. We probably would have ran under a 150 or so half marathon. Again, that was with pictures and everything. But, we were all more than happy to walk and enjoy the race together, which is what it's all about, why we love the RunDisney races, running with friends, having a good time. And the nice thing about Wine and Dine, though, is the good time does not end. We do still have the after party to talk about.
We did take good naps.
Yeah,
This day.
we napped like
Really hard.
all
It was
day.
good. That's exactly what we wanted to do.
What did we end up doing for dinner?
We went to the boardwalk and we got pizza.
That's right. Yep, we
And it was
did.
really good.
Yeah, so nice thing with Pop was we were able to take the Skyliner there. You cannot take it at the end of the party because the Skyliner closes after an hour after park closes. Tony asked what was the cause of Sarah's fall. Sarah tripped on the curb. No, I did not push her. I promise. And in fact, you'll see in the video, I say, "Hey guys, watch out for the curb," and the cast member says, "Watch out for the curb," and then all we hear is thud, and I turn around and Sarah is on the ground.
I shouldn't laugh.
Not to, yeah, make funny, but there is many, "Hey, watch that curb," thud.
I can relate to things like that happening to me.
But yes, Sarah, I do hope your knee is getting better. Ken did say it was still a little bit beat up a couple weeks later, though.
Oh man.
Yeah, so it was a curb. That's what did it. Yeah, so we took the Skyliner and we hung out in the boardwalk area for a little while. Got some pizza at the pizza window there. And then we, of course, went to go and get our bands for the after party. You can get in, was it 5 o'clock you can get in? Yep, when we got to International Gateway, which is that back entrance, there was a real long line to get in, but that was because they had not started scanning tickets and allowing people in. But it was pretty much all the way back going up the bridge there, past the Skyliner station. But once they got it going, sorry, Walt is
I don't think
making
they can
noises
hear him,
outside the door.
We're 22 minutes late with his dinner.
Yeah, he knows it. And he knows we're in here doing this, and
he hates it when we don't let him in here.
Yep. But anyways, yeah, so that line was pretty long, but once they got moving, it moved quick. I think once it started moving, we waited maybe 10 minutes or so. It wasn't long at all.
They did very specifically want the party people to go through the one security line and the one gate.
Yeah, there was some confusion there, but it seemed like they were able to resolve it afterwards. Yeah. There was just some tension there. And of course, they give you the band, which I don't know if I threw the band away. But then they do give you the Wine and Dine party pamphlet here. Kind of tells you, what's going to be open, what the characters are, which is usually the first time you're going to see what characters are going to be out. Usually you do have some race-themed or exclusive characters. As well as you can figure out, where they're going to sell the exclusive drinks, and again, what rides will be open. Typically, when we do the parties, our plan of attack is that we're going to hit all of the rides that aren't going to be open towards the party, which is usually some of the less ridden ones anyways. So we knocked out the land.
Living with the land.
We did we do? No, we did not do Spaceship Earth. We did that during the party.
Yes, that one was open during the party.
But we did do Mission Space.
Yes, and there was some talk of trying to get onto Three Caballeros, but I believe we
opted for more food.
And then Amy, my sister, wanted to get to the
Japan Pavilion
before the store closed, because general rule of thumb is most of those I think all the World Showcase stores and restaurants close during the party. Most of the booths are the
food booths are open.
And there was some souvenirs she had wanted to get from there.
Yeah, so that pretty much takes us up to fireworks. We had, I think, 45 minutes to an hour before fireworks. What we did was we walked up the stairs at Japan and we camped out there and kind of said, "Hey friends, this is where we're camping. If we want to meet for fireworks and then start to hit the rides, this is what we'll do." So a couple people came and met up with us there. A couple people stopped to say hi. Tony came up and said hi, which was totally awesome. Yeah, great spot to watch the fireworks though. Not too crowded up there.
Yeah.
Again, kind of just a cool spot to chill.
Yeah.
While you wait, and then we kind of waited to dissipate. What the rest of our group did, which was really smart, was they watched the fireworks over by France, because we said the first thing we wanted to do was Remy. So they watched the fireworks. As soon as that ended, they turned around and booked it right into the Remy line. And they made the right call, because like I said, we were going to go to Remy too, and we got there. The difference in our line wait would have been probably 30 or 40 minutes.
Do you know how long they waited?
They only waited like maybe 25
Okay.
minutes or so. It
Yeah.
was not very long at all. The line was moving very fast because there's no lightning lane or anything
Hmm.
at that point. But by the time they got in line and we would have, it was backing up already. So we just said, "Hey, we're gonna meet you over by Soren." I don't even remember if we like stopped at any booths or anything, but we walked over that way, and we were
We got
kind
a
of
drink. We went to oh no,
no, we stopped at
that was before the land.
Rose and
That was
Crown
when
when
we
we got
first got
in.
there. Sorry. Confusing that.
Yeah, that was when we did our celebratory beer for the race.
Yeah, that was very, very
It
fun.
was good. Yeah, it's been a while since I've been in there. I mean,
I
it
always like
was
it in there.
yeah, it's always very busy, but you can get some good beer and beer blends in there. Always love that. But yeah, so then we pretty much knocked out rides after that. Everyone kind of convened at Soren. We had
Soaring was really fun because we had a whole row
we
of
had more
friends.
than a whole row. We had 14 people for
Yeah.
Soren.
It was
So
fun.
yeah, that was cool. There's I think a picture. I'll put a highlight for Wine and Dine in their stories. But yeah, there's a picture with us in a whole row, and we had almost half of a whole other row. So that was a lot of fun. After that, it did start. People started to dissipate, do other things, which is totally fine. That's kind of our how it goes for the parties
Yeah.
for us. Is like groups will come together, do certain things, and other groups will split off. I'm trying to think because we went and did
We tried to do Frozen, but it
well,
was
we went to
Frozen.
go do Spaceship Earth, I believe is what we did next.
Okay.
We went and hit that, and we were going to go check the line for Guardians. Guardians was pretty long. I think in general, I mean, the lines, can still be kind of long. Everything is standby. Typically, the vibe's been that anything's posted longer than what it actually was.
Usually.
So we were gonna go and do Guardians. Said, hey, let's go check Frozen Ever After. Unfortunately, we got to Frozen and that was down. But there was no line for Olaf right next to him, so we went and did a group photo at Olaf, which I think turned out super cute.
Yeah.
I like that photo
A
a
lot of
lot
people
too.
in that picture.
Yeah,
And they did not want you to stand in front of Olaf.
that's okay. It was a good picture. Yeah, and of course too during the party, something that's different is they have like DJ music going on.
This is one of my favorite parts of the party is they broadcast the DJ dance party through the whole park. And it's just something fun about like being in Norway and hearing like
It's fun dance music.
Flo Rida.
Yeah, it is fun, and they got the volume level just right this year.
The
There's been
first year,
years
the
where,
first year was awful.
yeah, there were years
So
where it
bad.
was so loud that you couldn't even like talk or think, and those were rough. But yeah, the volume
Yeah.
level was very tolerable and fun this
Yeah.
year.
And when you get into like the last hour of the party going, the cast members start to get a little loopy and funny and they'll like be dancing to the
Oh
music
yeah,
too.
they're just
It's
like
great. I
unhinged.
love it so much.
Yeah, totally unhinged. So yeah, we went and did the picture with Olaf and basically went back towards Guardians. I think we stopped and some people got food over at Odyssey. They got wings and stuff and
Mm.
ate them as we walked. And I think some people stopped is it the Fry place that's also right there, kind of on the other side of that by Test Track?
It's near Guardians, yeah.
Yeah, I do think Test Track being down is
A
definitely
bummer.
not down. It's refurbished,
Refurbished.
which we all knew. There was no chance of that. But that being down, I think takes away a little bit from the party because that is your other like big attraction, and you lose a lot of capacity. So you are gonna have longer lines because obviously they're not letting less people in. In
Yeah.
fact, I did not look at what the finishers were, but this did feel like it was a pretty large race weekend. Typically, typically actually is on the medium to smaller side for the race weekends, but I will try to see if I can get that pulled up before we close the show out. But yeah, then we did get to go on Guardians. I believe it was posted at an hour or just over an hour. Um, and it was pretty close to that weight actually. And I will note people were reporting, typically you could get into the line up until like the party was closing. I guess they did close the line for Guardians a little bit early. So I did hear people were pretty much were upset about that because that was not usually the case. We rolled up to Guardians I think about 20 minutes before it closed in the last 2 years. Typically, it's almost always like the last thing we close the night out with.
Yeah. But I guess that makes sense because if Test Track was down and then if Frozen was also down, I mean, everyone's
People
gonna be
have to
like,
go somewhere,
well,
yeah.
let's go, everyone go do Guardians, and they probably realize that they didn't want to be there until 3 a.m.
Yeah. Still overall, like, one of my favorite parties. I mean, since we've kind of, like, found our group and, like, have done that, the parties have definitely been more fun. And we've made it much longer into the parties. When
Yeah.
Katie and I used to just do the parties by ourselves, we'd hit, like, 11, maybe 12. Not even 12. We'd hit, like, 11. We're like, all right, let's go
Yeah.
back. But it's way more fun to have people because we don't always feel like we need to do those things. Like we have passes, we go to Epcot pretty often, but to be with people that want to knock rides out and like get to experience that with everyone just makes it special, makes it
Yeah.
more fun for sure.
Yeah.
And you know we've pretty much welcomed anyone into our group for the parties that just need someone to hang out with, which also makes it fun. Again, getting to meet and chat with people.
Taking this away from you.
Yeah, I probably am making papery noises. So I do apologize. Someone should have yelled at me earlier about it.
Me.
Yeah. Yeah, overall though, like good weekend. This usually is the kick well, it is the kickoff to the Walt Disney World race season as we call it.
Yeah, so is Halloween the beginning of the race season? The Halloween half the beginning of the race season now, or the end of the old one now?
I think Halloween is the start.
Okay.
I think summertime is the lull and Halloween is kind of the kickoff to the season. Though it does feel like everything else is pushing to yearly because Run Disney or Club Run Disney switched to a yearly schedule and then Coast to Coast works off a yearly schedule. So it's not really like there's any value to when the season starts anyways. Like there's not perfect seasons or anything like that. They don't track any of that. So it really doesn't matter. Uh Wine and Dine, it just used to always be that springtime to Wine and Dine was the big gap.
Yeah.
So that was always the welcome back, which it still very much felt like.
Yeah, I wonder if they do it that way based on, because I think that follows pretty close to what the Disney World's like fiscal year is, which is getting into accounting things. But I wonder if that might be.
It very well could be.
I don't know.
Yeah. Tony gives a shout out to my Star Wars hat. I saw it on the shelf. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna wear that one. Yeah. R.I.P. the Star Wars race weekends. They're good ones.
4 straight years. We almost
I know, almost were perfect. And for some reason, we chose not to be perfect for the Wine and Dine challenge.
Yeah,
because we didn't know they would honor the challenge as perfect.
Yeah, we could have been perfect. Like there was no, like we literally just sat at home. We could have been there.
Yeah, that is a-okay. That is from a different time. But
yeah, you learn.
Good race weekends. Again, Pop was good for us for a race weekend. Poppin'. Yeah, but wasn't really like too noisy. Every once in a while, like we get rooms that we feel are noisier than others, but I didn't. Fine. Yeah, I didn't have any of that issue.
Shout out to the Pop Century cast members though, because they celebrate the Run Disney runners hard. And I've seen cast members at other resorts do like fun special things for the race, but I've never had this much enthusiasm, and it was just really wonderful. And I've heard that that's very true. Like every Pop race, I think sometimes maybe we've missed it because we have driven and we've just driven back in our car because they stand by like where the bus lets you off.
And other resorts do stuff, but the Pop one has been pretty consistently fun. Bubble blowers, music, they got buttons congratulating everyone. It was a good time.
Yeah, it was wonderful.
Yeah, Pop continues to be, a good, solid option for race weekends. And I will say,
food-wise, because we did eat in their food court several times, I feel like it was not too shabby at all. Breakfast, in particular, was really good. They had some, like, good tater tot bowl options.
Yeah, Pop was fine. I mean, the only disbenefit is the Art of Animation quick service really went downhill compared to what it used to be.
Yes, like now Art and Pop basically have the same menu where you used to be able to kind of hop between the two and get different stuff, and now there's no reason to because it's the same stuff.
Yeah, I do miss that quite a bit. If you guys have any other questions about Wine and Dine, Run Disney, or even moving towards Marathon Weekend, Dopey, training, and all of that, now's definitely a great time to ask it. And then we'll kind of wrap up the show here. Again, any other questions, or if you ask it in the comments later, we will definitely get back to you. It was long run day for me. I hit 12 miles. Last week was my longest run in like 2 years. I did 18.
Oof. I was so proud. I wasn't here to cheer you on, but I was like bragging about you.
It was like the best run I had in a long time.
Yeah.
And it was one of those runs where like, you hit 18 miles and like, okay, it's like I feel much better about going into Dopey. Like that felt really good. My pace was really good. We've had some good weather these last few weeks, which really helps us. We will be at Space Coast next weekend, racing Space Coast. I am excited about that. That'll be a real race for me. It'll be kind of a test my limits, see where I'm at, because with the Florida weather, I have not been running super well. But if we have some good
Getting
weather
better.
next week, which it looks like, I will kind of be able to see where my fitness is, and that is exciting. I ran pretty well at Space Coast last year, which is good, and we have a friend running his first marathon there, which
Yeah.
is also exciting to get
Yeah.
to be there and cheer him on.
My plan, I did 3.5 miles today, which felt okay considering I was traveling all week and not eating the healthiest things and hadn't run in like a week and a half. And then I'm going to do another probably 5 or 6 tomorrow. And then I'm going to try to do a simulation over Thanksgiving and do a 5K Wednesday. We're signed up for a 10K turkey trot
Yes.
in my old stomping grounds, which is very fun. So I'm excited. And then I want to do like an 18 or a 19 mile on Friday. Take a break and then I'll do Space Coast.
Yep, I definitely forgot to show you that. Like I said, I have no clue where our challenge medal is, which is probably my favorite medal from the weekend.
Oh, you have it over there.
Oh, the replica pin?
Yes, the replica pin does look like the challenge pin.
Pretty close to it, which is good. That wants to focus sometime today here.
Is in the way.
There we go. But yeah, and then the one side spins. It's kind of hard to spin the pin though, because it's like pretty tight on the backer.
Yeah. We'll find that.
Yeah, it'll show up like 20 minutes after we finish the show, and we're like, oh, that's where it was.
Yeah.
But as always, thank you to everyone who stopped and like said hi. Tons of people like while we were running the races, stopping to say hi and chat with us, which was super cool.
I got recognized so much more by myself. Usually I don't get seen, but I got seen without Lake.
Yeah, it's true.
That was very, very fun.
Yeah, I definitely am missing some names. We had Lisa and Laura, which I think were from the Expo, Stephanie and Jeannie. There were definitely some other people from the 10K on the course that I missed. From the half, we had Brent, Chris, Chad, Kathy and Alexander, Daphne and Raphael. Good to see you guys again. They joined us for a meetup when we were at Disneyland weekend. Jeff, Alex, Scott, Brian. I think some of them were from the party. Usually I designate where they are, and apparently I just had a long list sometime. Scott was in the chat earlier there. Of course, thank you to Tony. Tony's run some of the races with me as well. Always good to see him. I believe he had a pretty strong half marathon for this weekend. He is gearing up to race Walt Disney World Marathon for his first marathon. So good luck. I hope training is still going pretty well. We had a cast member recognize us.
I don't think we've ever had a cast member recognize us.
Like while we were in the park, like a week later.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool. So shout out to Summer, who was at Skipper's Cantina.
Thank you so much. She wasn't even our server. She saw us from across the way and came said hi, and that was really, really nice.
Yep. Tony, I'm running the half for Space Coast. I actually really thought about running the full, and I was advised against it from my coach. He said, no one I know has a good race at Space Coast. Of course, now the weather might be really good, so
yeah.
Either way, I'm fine running the half.
Yeah. I'm obviously also doing the half. And the cool thing about Space Coast is they let you, the half time limit is the same as the full time limit. So it's probably a really good one if you're like a newbie and you're like unsure about where your pace is at. You have 7 hours to do the half marathon.
Yeah, the half marathon is not the most interesting course. It is pretty flat. It is right there along the yeah, the medal is huge. The medal is like a plate. Like they are ginormous. Biggest race medals you will ever receive.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a nice flat course, typically kind of fast, especially all of the half marathoners are running the south side, which is like the second half of the marathon course. You used to be able to choose, which I really wanted to run the north course this year. Tony says, glad to hear it's a half.
Smart coach.
Yeah.
Very good coach.
Yeah, he is a good coach. Also, we just got like team singlets today too. So excited for that. Well, it does not look like we have any other questions here. Only thing is, if you follow us on Instagram, usually every weekend we do a little long run check in just on our stories. We'll let people kind of talk about what they were doing. Speaking of Tony's training here, uh, Tony says he had 10 miles today at race pace, 20 miles tomorrow. Looks like he's got a little bit of an injury going on, which does kind of stink. Tony, I hope you get that figured out. IT band, it looks like. We got Dina did 8 miles. The Jesselton basically shouts out our channel. Says he needs to get back to running since he hasn't run since Chicago. It's a fun marathon, though. Pierce had 16. Shoe Steve, as many of you know him from the show, did not have a good run today.
We can't say that on the internet.
No, we cannot repeat what Shoe Steve has posted here for us. But it looks like he's dealing with a little bit of pain. But he did get 8.5 miles in. Considers it a disaster, but he still got out there. Remember, the 20 minutes you did do is better than the 60 minutes that you didn't. Always solid advice. Katie knocked out 3.5 today. She's got more tomorrow. Amy is in the middle of her sim. 23. So she did 23 miles 2 days ago. Yep.
And then she saw Wicked. I follow her on Instagram.
Well, that is your sister.
Yeah.
Christy is trying for 18 miles tomorrow. She's got a 6-mile loop. She's excited to try.
6 miles. Oh, that'll be fun.
Yeah, it sounds like a good loop. I said 6 miles is like perfect for a long run. And then Brian had 21 this morning, and he says his knees hate him now. But we will be back with more live shows, basically leading up to marathon weekend. I expect we'll probably have a live show at least every other week leading up into it. We should get the Expo information, the virtual Expo with the rest of the race courses here. Typically, we like to do a little training and gear talk as well. Talk about, what our preferred gear, training, and where we are, usually in the middle of December. Talk about, what shoes we like to run or are running the marathon in. I tell you right now, I'm indecisive, but that's more because of different options than a lack of options.
That's good.
But yeah, again, if you guys have any other questions, any other thoughts, again, if you did the new corral system this weekend, please do comment. I do just want to collect some of that. And we do have another show, a live show in the works with a guest potentially, who you will probably all know if you follow me, talking about like how to meet people at RunDisney, especially if you're like a solo runner. I'm not sure when we plan on doing that, but otherwise, I think that is going to do it. Again, if you're running marathon or any other race, RunDisney weekend, let us know. We will be doing a meetup for marathon weekend. We don't have anything official. I think we're leaning towards Friday right now. Because we don't want to do it Saturday before the marathon, and we know a lot of people are leaving Sunday right away after the marathon. But we don't have a specific place or time, but we are still kind of taking feedback for that for when to do it. Otherwise, that is going to do it for this episode. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, make sure to like, subscribe, ring the bell, all of that fun YouTube-y stuff, and we will see you next time. Bye, guys.
Bye.